Are you making more or less money than everyone else? Do you have more saved up than people your age, or are you falling behind? The truth is, most of us have absolutely no idea where we actually stand financially. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what the average person's money situation looks like. Trust me, some of these numbers are going to shock you. Welcome to the Wealth Guide. On this channel, we break down personal finance in a way that actually makes sense. If you want to take control of your money and start building real wealth, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling generous, you can drop a like on this video. So here's the thing. We see people on Instagram buying new cars, going on expensive vacations, living in beautiful homes. And we start wondering, how are they affording this? Am I doing something wrong? Should I have more saved up by now? But the reality is, we're usually comparing ourselves to highlight reels without knowing what's actually happening behind the scenes. We have no frame of reference for what normal actually looks like when it comes to money, and that's what we're going to fix today. Because understanding where you stand compared to the average person isn't just about curiosity or being nosy, it's about making smarter decisions with your own money. Think about it like this: if you're trying to get fit, you'd want to know what the average person weighs or how often they exercise, right? Money works exactly the same way. So let's dive into the real numbers. And I'm warning you right now, some of these are going to make you feel great about your situation, while others might be a serious reality check. Income. What are people really making? Let's start with the basics. How much is the typical worker actually bringing home? According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median full-time worker earns about $1,000 per week. Do the math on that, and you're looking at roughly $52,000 per year before taxes. Now, let me be clear about what this means. First, we're talking about individual income here, not household income. So this is just one person's paycheck. Second, median means half of workers make more than this and half make less. It's literally the middle of the pack. If you're earning around $26 per hour, congratulations. You're right there with the average worker. But here's the kicker, and this is important, that 52,000 is before Uncle Sam takes his cut. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare get deducted, you're probably taking home somewhere between $35,000 to $40,000 depending on where you live. Suddenly that doesn't seem like quite as much money anymore, does it? But income is only part of the story. What really matters is what people are doing with that money once they earn it. And this is where things get really interesting and honestly kind of scary. Retirement savings, the brutal reality. Let's talk about retirement savings because this is where a lot of people are heading for disaster. The Federal Reserve's latest data shows that the median American has $65,000 saved for retirement. Now, before you react to that number, remember this includes everyone who has a retirement account at all. Here's the part that should terrify you. About 1 in 4 Americans has $0 saved for retirement. Nothing. Zilch. That means 25% of people are planning to survive entirely on Social Security when they stop working. And we'll talk about how realistic that is in just a minute. For people who do have retirement savings, the numbers get even more concerning when you break them down by age. If you're under 25, the median retirement balance is less than $2,000. Now, to be fair, if you're 23 and just starting out, having 2 grand saved isn't terrible, but it shows how critical it is to start early. People between 25 and 34 have a median balance of around 14,000. That might sound okay until you realize these are people who've been working for nearly a decade in some cases. But here's where it gets really ugly. People 65 and older who are literally at retirement age have a median balance of just $88,000. Let me put that in perspective for you. There's a rule in retirement planning called the 4% rule. Basically, you can withdraw about 4% of your retirement savings each year without running out of money. If you have $88,000 saved, that 4% gives you $3,500 per year. That's less than $300 per month. $300 a month. Could you live on that? Even if you own your home outright with no mortgage payment, 300 bucks won't cover your groceries, utilities, healthcare, car expenses, and everything else you need just to survive. This is why these statistics matter so much. If you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s right now and you're looking at these numbers, you should be asking yourself, am I on track? Or am I heading toward the same situation? Social Security. Can you really live on it? Since so many people are counting on Social Security to bail them out, let's look at what it actually provides. The average Social Security payment is around $1,550 per month. That works out to about $18,600 per year. Now, $18,000 might sound like it could work if you're really frugal, especially with no mortgage payment. But here's the catch. This is the average. If you had years where you didn't work or you earned very little money, your benefit could be way lower than this. And here's something most people don't think about. Social Security faces serious long-term funding problems. Some financial experts recommend planning your retirement as if Social Security won't exist at all. That might sound extreme, but it forces you to save enough to actually take care of yourself. Relying on a government program to fund your entire retirement? That's not a plan. That's a hope. And hope is not a financial strategy. Spending habits. Where does all the money go? All right, let's shift gears and talk about spending, because this affects your life right now today. The average American household spends about $5,577 per month. Over a full year, that's roughly $67,000 in total expenses. Think about what that means. If your household is spending $67,000 per year, you need to bring home at least that much just to break even. And remember, we're talking about take-home pay here, not your salary before taxes. So you actually need to earn quite a bit more than $67,000 to cover these expenses. Let's break down where all that money is going. The biggest expense is housing at about $1,885 per month. That includes rent or mortgage, property taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance. Over $22,000 per year just for a place to live. And if you're in a major city like New York or San Francisco, you're probably laughing right now because $1,800 wouldn't even cover a studio apartment. Food is the second biggest category at about $691 per month. That's over $8,000 per year for groceries and eating out. And honestly, if you're feeding your family on less than $700 a month, you're doing pretty well. Transportation costs about $913 monthly. That's car payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, or public transit. Nearly $11,000 per year just to get around. Add up just housing and transportation, and you're already at $2,700 per month. That's before we even talk about healthcare, debt payments, entertainment, clothing, or anything else. This is why financial experts suggest keeping your housing and transportation costs under 50% of your income. Because once you go over that threshold, there's not much room left for anything else, especially saving money. Credit scores and debt. The good and the ugly. Let's talk about credit because this affects everything from buying a house to getting approved for a car loan. The average credit score in America is 715. Credit scores range from 300 to 850, so 715 is actually considered pretty good. It means most people are at least doing some things right, like paying their bills on time and not maxing out their credit cards. But don't let that number fool you. There are still plenty of people walking around with scores in the 500s and 600s, wondering why they can't get approved for decent interest rates. Your credit score matters more than you might think. It affects your mortgage rate, your car loan terms, even whether you get approved for an apartment. Some employers even check credit scores before hiring. The good news is that maintaining a decent score isn't complicated. Pay your bills on time, don't max out your credit cards, and avoid opening new accounts just to save 10% at checkout. Now here's where things get ugly. Credit card debt. The average household is carrying over $9,000 in credit card debt. $9,000 spent on stuff that's probably sitting in a closet right now, or already thrown away. What makes this even worse is the interest rates. Credit cards typically charge 15, 20, even 25% interest or higher. If you're paying 20% interest on $9,000, you're throwing away $1,800 per year just in interest payments. That's money that could be building wealth, but instead it's making credit card companies rich. Here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Most credit card debt comes from buying things we don't actually need. Sure, sometimes emergencies happen, but let's be real, a lot of that 9,000 went toward impulse purchases, clothes, electronics, dinners out, and things that seemed like a good idea in the moment. The solution is simple, even if it's not easy. Pay off your credit card balance in full every single month. If you can't afford to pay cash for something, don't put it on a credit card unless it's a genuine emergency. And if you're already carrying a balance, make paying it off your number one priority, even before investing for retirement. Because there's no point earning 7% in the stock market if you're paying 20% on credit card debt. Net worth, the big picture. Now let's talk about the number that really matters, net worth. Net worth is simple. It's everything you own minus everything you owe. Add up your house, your cars, your bank accounts, your retirement accounts, and everything else of value. Then subtract your mortgage, credit card debt, student loans, and any other debts. Whatever's left is your net worth. According to the Federal Reserve, the median net worth for American households is about $122,000. But just like retirement savings, this varies dramatically by age. If you're under 35, the median net worth is less than $14,000. If you're 25 and just starting your career, that's not terrible. But if you're 34 and still sitting at 14,000, you might want to reevaluate your financial trajectory. People between 35 and 44 have a median net worth of 91,000. The 45 to 54 age group hits 168,000. Those between 55 and 64 reach 212,000. And people 65 to 74 have a median of 266,000. Here's what I find fascinating about these numbers. They're actually pretty achievable for most people with decent incomes and basic financial discipline. You don't need to be a genius investor or start the next big tech company. You just need to consistently spend less than you earn and invest the difference intelligently over time. But there's a problem. Americans only save about 6% of their income after taxes. 6%. That's it. If you're only saving 6%, and some of that needs to go towards short-term goals like buying a car or saving for a down payment on a house, there's not much left for long-term wealth building. Most financial experts recommend saving at least 10 to 15% specifically for retirement, and that's on top of other savings goals. So, what does all of this mean for you? Here's the bottom line. The average person's approach to money isn't working very well. When the typical American has less than 90,000 saved for retirement and is carrying 9,000 in credit card debt, something is clearly broken. But here's the good news. Once you know what average looks like, it becomes crystal clear how to do better. And doing better than average doesn't require some secret formula that only rich people know. If you're saving more than 6% of your income, you're already ahead of most people. If you're avoiding credit card debt, you're way ahead of the game. If you're actually investing consistently in retirement accounts, you're lapping the competition. Think about it this way. If the average household spends $5,500 per month and you figure out how to live comfortably on $4,500, you've just freed up $12,000 per year. Do that for a few decades while investing that money, and you'll end up in a completely different financial league than most of your peers. The reality is that most of these statistics are beatable with some basic financial discipline. You don't need to earn a six-figure salary or inherit money. You just need to be more intentional with your money than the average person. And frankly, based on these numbers, that bar is set pretty low. What I find most interesting is the gap between what people say they want and what they actually do. Everyone says they want financial security. Everyone says they want to retire comfortably. But the average person's behavior doesn't match these goals. Maybe that's because most people don't know what average actually looks like. Maybe they assume everyone else has their act together so they don't feel urgency to change. Or maybe they think it's too late to make a difference. If any of these statistics hit close to home for you, don't panic. The fact that you're here, learning about money and trying to understand your financial situation, already puts you ahead of most people. The key is to use these numbers as motivation, not as an excuse to give up. These statistics show us where the average person ends up, but they don't have to define where you end up. Use them as a starting point, not a finish line. Because here's the truth, you deserve better than retiring at 61 with $88,000 hoping Social Security doesn't run out. You deserve better than living paycheck to paycheck while carrying credit card debt. You deserve the peace of mind that comes with having your financial life in order. The choice is yours. Now that you know what average looks like, you can decide whether you want to be average or whether you want to be better than that. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these statistics surprised you the most. And if you want to learn more about building wealth and taking control of your money, check out the video I'm linking on screen right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.